Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for this Adventures of the Awakened Heart podcast. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Julie Tara and I'll be your host today. And this concept of the Adventures of the Awakened Heart really came to my heart to bring forward people's amazing stories of transformation of the heart, especially at this time. So I am thrilled today. I'll be interviewing one of my most beautiful friends, Emrys Hanley. And let me tell you a little about Emrys first off, before we go straight in. So Emrys Hanley is a singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and digital nomad. I have to say, I love that term. He is a founding member of the positive reggae jazz band, Oh Like Wow. He's also the co-founder of Dream Real Daily Tools and Training for Entrepreneurs, and excellent at it, I will add. He has been featured around the world on TV and radio, including NBC, Showtime, and the BBC. He has warmed up crowds and or recorded with many acclaimed artists, including Michael Franti and Spearhead, the Indigo Girls, Crazy Bone, and members of the Doobie Brothers. You can get your good vibes at ohlikewowmusic.com, and I will put the link below. And you can get a free business in a box at dreamreal.fun, and I'll put that below as well. So thank you, Emrys, so much for being here for this very special time because it's almost Valentine's Day. And I'm just so excited that you're here and going to chat with me about your life story.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited about I love Valentine's Day. I know some people have mixed emotions about it, but it's basically my anniversary with my amazing partner, Sophia, pretty much.
Beautiful. I know we're going to jump right in there. So first of all, just since I'm starting this with the Gaia community, you know, I'd love to ask you as part of the Gaia community, and I know you're a very avid member of Gaia, you know, what is the most impactful aspect of Gaia for you on your journey?
Well, the most impactful aspect for me is probably actually right when I started watching Gaia. It was, you know, I think it was about 3 years ago. And it was right before we went on a trip up to Sebastopol, and I started watching Greg Braden on YouTube. And I had heard about him before, but I'd never really explored his work at all. And I started listening to that, and then I wanted more, so I found his show Missing Links, and that's how I became a Gaia member. And I was listening to him every night while I was falling asleep for weeks. And Sophia and my partner and I were listening to him over and over again. And I've always been interested in quantum physics and how our hearts seem to kind of manifest things more than our conscious desires. And so I was really fascinated with what he was explaining to me. And something about listening to him over and over again, right about the time I arrived in Sebastopol, California, I got it in my body, like not just consciously, but I got, you know, I really accepted it that we weren't living in a solid reality, even though I already knew that, but it's like my whole body accepted it. And it was actually kind of intense. I felt like I was going to wink out of existence. I was like, Sophia, hold my hand, tell me, like, talk to me. I don't want to disappear into some other place. I want to stay here with you. And at the same time as we were listening to Greg Braden and Missing Links over and over again, we were also listening to the Donovan song Hurdy-Gurdy Man over and over again. And when we got to Sebastopol, one of the first things we did was we went to the farmer's market, and there was this amazing instrument playing, and it was creating this vibration like a bubble of love over the whole farmer's market in Sebastopol. And we didn't know what the instrument was. And we had to go up to this guy and we said, what is that? What is that instrument? He said, oh, that's a hurdy-gurdy. And then, so we literally manifested the hurdy-gurdy man. And we didn't, there's no hurdy-gurdy in the song Hurdy-Gurdy Man. So that's why I didn't actually know what it, and we got to actually,
wild. What?
he invited us over and he let us play the hurdy-gurdy. And
I love this.
but it impacted our music so much, because after watching Missing Links and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Rewired and all that stuff, we started to really think about the lyrics of our own songs and other people's songs we were performing at our shows, and started to feel like really responsible for what we were putting out there. And we were thinking, you know, our emotions may possibly be rippling out and throughout the entire universe, affecting beings on, you know, even another planet, like, but they're definitely affecting things here, and the way other people feel is affecting things. So we wrote a mission for our band that we were gonna only play positive music. We were only going to write songs that would program people's subconscious minds for health, wealth, love, and happiness, and heaven on earth. So that was the biggest impact for me that I can think of.
That's a huge ripple effect. I really love that. And it's funny, I've just been listening to Greg Braden the last few nights, and today's a new moon in Aquarius, and he was talking about prayerfulness. So I actually was implementing a lot of what he was teaching in it was in series 3, I think it was episode like 10, 11. And it was so beautiful, and he got so emotional. So we both love Greg Braden, and I know he's coming to the Gaia Sphere soon. I'm super excited about that in March. And so fantastic. Thanks for that. And, you know, you got me really excited about lots of aspects of Gaia that I hadn't explored yet when we met. And so I'm super grateful to you for that. And also for your positive attitude. You always are such a wonderfully positive man. And we have the best conversations ever. I treasure you as my friend, and just your outlook on life. You know, I really, truly do.
Thank you.
Emrys, so how long would you say you've been on this path of spiritual awakening? Was it then, or was it earlier in your life?
Oh, well, I would say that we're all born into it, but I was definitely born into it. Whether we're aware of it or not is another question, you know. But I was born, you know, to two parents who were astrologers and Buddhist hippies. You know, like I lived for a year in the woods in a yurt when I was a baby, and then we moved to Colorado, and I lived in a Buddhist temple with Tibetan lamas. And you know, ever since I was one of my probably my earliest memory that I can vividly remember was, you know, I was barely old enough to talk. And one of the first questions I ever actually remember asking my mother was calling her into my room at night and saying, "Mom, why is it snowing rainbows in my room?" And my parents never went, "Oh, that's just your imagination," or something like that. I would ask them all kinds of weird questions. They told me, I say, "What are those strings that are between everybody?" Or what was that place that we used to live in where it was snow? There was a lot of snow and mountains. Were we Chinese then? Like, those are the kind of questions I was asking my parents when I was a little kid. And they never said, "Oh, that's just your imagination. Oh, you know, no," they just kind of accepted it and encouraged it. And, you know, they took me with them to events, and, you know, I was talking and hanging out with adults, and my parents were definitely into meditation and astrology and energy healing and all these things. So it's just kind of like normal to me.
Yeah, it's second nature for you. I think you were extremely blessed to have parents that were so open-minded, that you know, really allowed you to be all of who you came here to be right from the get-go. And that's very unusual, I think, actually. So, but you know, it makes sense given who I know you to be at this, you know, at this stage of the game. And you know, such a positive influence, and that ripple effect, you know, it's real, and we feel it. So you've done great with that. And that's why I wanted you on this podcast too, because I do feel you are an awakened heart, and I want to know, what does that mean for you, whether personally or collectively, the awakened heart?
Okay, well, this is going to be a multi-part answer because I could talk about this for a long time, but I'll try to be brief. So if you look at the logo on our website, dreamreal.fun, the logo is a heart with an eye in the center. And to me, what that means is that when you see the vision in your mind and you feel the feeling in your heart, that's when things are going to happen. I mean, I've always wanted to change the world and be in a band, you know, that affected culture. And I've always wanted to, you know, be able to wave a magic wand and help people live the lives of their dreams. But I mean, I struggled as a musician for a long time. And the thing that made the turning point was when I started doing things like meditating every day and visualizing and affirmations and things like that. And I don't think that doing the same things necessarily means the same results, because our hearts are really, like, if you know anything about, well, you do know about quantum physics, but so the observer is altering the experiment, right? We know that from the founding experiment, the double slit experiment, yeah, where if you're observing quantum particles, you're altering their behavior. But I think it's not just, I think that it's not just observe, alter, and it's that simple. I think that the heart really comes into it, as the experiments of Dr. Emoto have really shown, that different frequencies, different feelings alter the water in different ways. You know, it's not always the same. So if I observe something and I'm feeling like, if I visualize something, but I'm feeling like I'm not going to have that, or that's impossible for me, then it doesn't matter what I'm thinking about consciously. It's when they align. That's when we become very powerful wizards. I think we're all powerful wizards, but it's a matter of, are we consciously aware that we're literally creating all of our experiences? And the second part of so yeah, see the vision, feel the feeling. One really amazing example of the power of the awakened heart is you remember that Greg Braden 3-day event that, yes, that I got to, thank you for inviting me to be part of that, to experience that. It was an amazing experience, but one of the most mind-blowing exercises was when he had us memorize an image of a hotel room, and he gave us, 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And then he had us write down what we remembered.
That's right.
And then he had us get into heart-brain coherence with the breathing exercise that he and Joe and Heart Math and everybody talk about. And then he had us not look at the picture again, but now write down what we remembered. And when I first wrote down stuff down, it was like, I think there were 3 or 4 paintings. I think maybe there was, it might have been this. When I did it the second time, it was like, there were exactly 3 paintings. There were exactly, yeah. And it was so amazing to me that it unlocked that recall ability, which he said it would. And I was honestly slightly skeptical of that. I mean, I don't just believe everything anybody says. I don't automatically think, oh, that's BS, but I have a sort of healthy, like, well, let's see if that's true. I don't know. Yeah. And that one I was like, really? Is that okay? Well, let's see. And then it worked.
Heart coherence. I mean, that is what opened and unlocked everything for all of us there. Yeah, absolutely.
And then my last part of that answer is, so when we started doing the habits of the world's most kind of like successful and accomplished people, and we started really being good about doing that morning routine. And then when we added in So that started to elevate our emotional state. But when we added in the bedtime routine, and we really did it perfectly, like every day, the morning routine, every night, the bedtime routine that all these amazing luminaries, like, you know, they do these little habits every day. And when we had both of those going, we actually want to write a song about it called Heart of Elevator, because what happened is we started to feel like our heart was like physically elevating and going up and up and up. And it was like, the more we did it, the higher it would go. And then something really interesting happened, like some kind of a superpower got accessed. And so I haven't been doing my bedtime routine good enough lately. And I want to get back to this place, because what happened was, if somebody even talked about something, or I even thought about something, and it was going to be a good path, I could feel my heart elevating. And if somebody talked about something, or I thought about something, and it wasn't the right direction to go, it was like I could feel the elevator going down, like physically.
Yes.
Feel this heart elevator.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen that in business also for many years, that, you know, I can think of someone, and if the energy goes up, I know it's a good thing, we can really co-create. And if the energy drops down, it's, you know, it doesn't matter how hard I try, it's not going to really sing. I think that is really incredible. So just to be clear, for those who are listening, where would they find those little protocols that you're speaking of, the morning and evening protocols?
Well, you know, I found, like, there's a lot of books on the subject, and I mean, I'll make a video about it on our we're on YouTube as Dream Real Daily, if people want to search that. I'd like to make some more videos about the habits. I have one video up there about an app that I use and what habits I put in. It's called Best Habit App 2020. But I should definitely make some more videos. But there's a great book by Ariana Huffington called Sleep Your Way to the Top, or something like that, about how the one habit of sleeping more at night is what made her successful.
She did a lot of work with sleep, and I've done a tremendous amount of work with sleep. It is absolutely critical for creating a beautiful, powerful, joyful life. There's no question about it. It's a massive subject. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into it today, but however, we will do that at some other time, and make that video, make that protocol, because I've worked a lot with Brendan Bouchard, and he talks a lot about habits too, and he has very specific habits, you know, morning and evening. So it's so much of this is this alignment between head, heart, and we do learn a lot about the divine mind and mind power, but my feeling is now that there's a lot of energy coming onto the planet to do with the heart, the divine heart, the sacred heart, and thus this podcast, of course. So could you share, maybe if you'd like, a life story about the heart and like a transformational experience that you've had?
Sure, I could share hundreds of stories, but since it's February and a lot of people are thinking about love or lack thereof, maybe I'll tell the story of how I met my partner, Sophia. It was my birthday, which is July 4th, and I was told all day long to go to. I was invited to like 3 different parties that night. And all day long, I kept being told by people, you have to go to this one party. You have to go to this one party. You have to go to this one party. And for some reason, I didn't listen to them. I went to a different party first. And I was like, maybe I'll go to that other party. And I was playing music, and the fireworks were going off over the ocean in Marina del Rey, which is in Southern California. And I was having a great time at this other party, and I totally forgot about the one that everybody was just like, it was so insistent how many places it came from. And I was just playing my guitar. People were jamming along on drums and stuff like that. And I was talking to a beautiful girl, and, you know, all kinds of cool stuff. But that party wound down, and it was really late. It was like, I think it was 1 or 2 in the morning at this point, and I was about to go home, and everybody had pretty much left. I was one of the last people there, just, you know, jamming with a lone percussionist. And then this guy from Poland, this really sweet, earnest guy that just had such an amazing vibration. He was like an earth angel or something. He was the last one leaving, and he said, "Hey, Emrys." This guy didn't even really know me. I mean, he had just met me. He knew me. He said, "I'm going to this other party. It's only a few blocks away. Do you want to come with me?" And he was inviting me one more time to that party, that same party. And I said, "Oh, you know what? Okay, that's it. I've got to go." So I walked down the 4 blocks carrying my guitar, and then I got to the party, and there was still, you know, maybe 20 or 30 people there, and there was music, and so I just automatically went in and started playing music with the musicians on my acoustic guitar, and there were some drummers as well. And then somebody passed me a jar of water with lemons floating in it, and just a little side note. About a week before, I had been at another party, and somebody had passed me a jar of water with lemons in it and said, "Here's a jar of lemons and water with lemons and stevia." And I had drank it, and I thought, wow, that's really tasty, like flavored water. Oh, wow, this gotta become a trend. It's amazing. And then so then at this party on July 4th, somebody passed me a jar of water and said, "Here's some water with lemons and sassafras." And I just thought, oh yeah, sassafras, that's like an herb or a root that's in root beer or something, right?
Correct. Yes, it is.
So I said, "Oh, thanks. I'm really thirsty." And I drank like half of this jar. And then I was playing music, and then I said, "Oh, it feels so good." And somebody said, "Oh yeah, I think you might have had a little too much sassafras, brother." Incidentally, there were people at this party one of them was named Pineapple Head, another one was named Vanilla Bean, and there was a guy named Singing Bear there. But so I was like, "What do you mean too much sassafras water?" You know, and do you know about sassafras?
I don't know the whole other aspect of sassafras. No, I don't.
Okay, well, I found out later that, and I've never taken, you know, what is it called? MDMA or ecstasy. Yeah. I never was interested in it, but apparently this is basically what that is, a synthetic form of this. It was nature's like version of that, like just a refined root of some kind. Like I guess sassafras is, and I definitely don't go take sassafras or anything, people. Like I'm not telling you go out and make sassafras.
Don't yourself out on sassafras. It's just such a great word to say. I have to, delightful word.
But for me, what happened is it brought me right into my heart, and it brought up some serious, like intense issues. And I was on the floor, I was crying, I was thinking I was gonna die. Like I literally thought I was gonna die. And luckily there was another girl there named Chocolate Face, and she fed me phytoplankton and held me and like walked me through my whole childhood, like an amazing priestess or something. Like she seemed to know what to do. And so she walked me through it all, and I released all this stuff. And then afterwards, I felt amazing. Like my heart was wide open, and I felt so happy. And I just took my shirt off, and I was like playing music and walking around smiling and just beaming at people. And people were like, "Who are you?" People who'd known me for years. Like, who is this person? Like, nice to meet you, Emrys. And anyway, I fell asleep, and in the morning I woke up and everybody was gone except for Sophia. Sophia was the only person left, and the same thing had happened to her, only it had happened like hours later. Somebody had gave her some water, and she did not know what sassafras was either, or she wouldn't wouldn't have partaken. But she was crying just like I had been. And she was just laying there crying. And I was the only one there. So I just went up to her and I started talking to her, and I pulled out my guitar and I sang her a song I wrote called Princess. And and then we became great friends, and a year later we got together, and we're best friends. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. We're business partners. We're in a band together, and the rest is history.
And you guys are awesome together. And when I see you playing in the band, which I've had the, privilege to do, you are amazing. And she is so beautiful inside and out. I love her very, very much. And I love seeing you together. I love the dynamics of you together. And this is a really interesting story, because I had no idea about all that, but what comes to my mind is that there was a need to let go of a lot of old stuff, a lot of old hurt, a lot of whatever, the idealizations we have about life that just don't happen the way we think they should, and the lost loves and everything else. And that once you had purged that, and then she purged that, you were both like available to each other, almost like the portals. And I'm seeing it visually, is the portals of your heart was so open after that. And empty in the best way, so that love could move in and through you and through her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and kind of an interesting, like the next chapter of that story was, we were friends for a year, and we helped each other write lists of exactly what we wanted in a partner. Like, as friends, we did that. And I helped her and she helped me, and we talked about it, and we got really clear about what we wanted. And then we said, wait a second, I think this is a description of you.
Oh, wow.
Only you have some things I forgot, but you have all these.
How lovely, all these attributes that you had visualized. And that's a powerful manifestation. I think when you do find your true beloved, it just, everything kind of falls into place. And that's so beautiful. And that must have just changed everything about how you are in the world. Having that experience that night, you'll never forget it. And
absolutely. My life has been totally different since then. Sophia has been my greatest, I almost feel like religious fervor for Sophia, because we used to call each other's Yodas. Like, she's kind of my guru, like I feel like she's almost my religion. She's helped me so much. Like, I can't say enough about her. She's changed my life. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, by far. One of the things is that I used to have what in psychology, I believe they call external locus of control, where my beliefs were such that I felt like things were happening to me rather than I was I felt like I was kind of a victim of a lot of circumstances, and that's why these things I wanted I didn't have, and stuff like that. And Sophia, she somehow flipped that. So now I have internal locus of control, which she had when I met her. So I actually believe that I am responsible for my own life. I actually believe that I can have an impact and affect my path and change things. So I no longer have that victim mentality. And Sophia taught me that.
Now, huge. This is just huge, because, most people go through life with that sense that life happens to them, not for them, and that they're not a co-creator or co-participant in life itself. And yet, of course, we are. And the more we study, from whether it's the quantum physics level to metaphysics, which is why I love Gaia so much, because we have it all, is to really realize that we have this sovereignty of being, that we truly are creators and co-creators in this life. And that's the whole purpose of Gaia, is to actually help people to really have that realization, and why
Yeah.
I love supporting it so much. And you know, it's something I've taught for many, many years, you know, in other arenas as well. So this is huge shift, because once you make that shift, it's like, okay. And I do believe there's a destiny, and I do believe the universe guides us and shifts us sometimes when we need a shift, or to be, you know, that happens. But as we see it as a co-creation, we're like, wow, this is really interesting. I never thought, fill in the, you know, ... So
Yeah. And you know, without Sophia, there would be no Oh Like Wow. That band is us coming together. She's such a good songwriter that I actually stopped writing lyrics for years and just like backed her up, because I was like, if I'm going to write songs, I need to be as good as her. And so now I'm writing again because she's influenced me so much that now I feel like I'm writing, you know, the stuff we write now together is amazing. And so I really, without her, I would have never made any, you know, like made my band into a real business. I struggled for many years, but her and I together turned Oh Like Wow into a band that actually got paid to play music, you know. And
you got booked, like you were booked
like,
here in Boulder at the top hotel for like, you know, so many times. I was so impressed, and I know how busy you've been.
And showing up in the world. You see my hair?
I love your hair.
My bow tie.
Love your bow tie.
Sophia is a fashion, like a fashionista. So
He is a fashionista.
The way I dress, the long hair, you know, all these were like, hey, can we try growing your hair out? Can we try putting a bow tie on you? And I was like, sure. And then I realized that women started walking up to me at events or even on the street and saying, can I touch your hair? Or like, wow, I love your bow tie. And I was thinking, wow, this is different. And then same thing with Dream Real. That's her and I coming together and creating. And, you know, I think I used to want to be a rock star or something, but she made me so much like envision so much more for what I could do in this life. Like with her, now I feel like what's the biggest problem we can solve and for the most people, and how can we do that? And let's figure out how we can help millions of people. And, you know, so yeah, everything about how I show up in the world is different.
I just love that. That is a true testimony to the power of two, you know, that are meant to be united, co-creating together. And I really feel like that's what it's all about when we find a beloved. So for those of you listening in Valentine's, whether you're with someone like this or you're not, and you're hoping and wishing and waiting and knowing that it's coming, that's all good. It's all good, because I do think there's divine timing with that as well, divine right timing. So Emrys, I'd like to, since I'm watching our time a little bit, I'm thinking, I'd like to ask you about it's a big question, this, what is your heart vision for our world?
Oh, my heart vision for our world. Okay. My heart vision for our world. Well, I believe in creating a world with one entrepreneur in every home. I believe that we will live in heaven on earth when we make it normal for people to live the lives of their dreams, build businesses around their passions. So that's what I'm envisioning, is a world where, you know, children, like from a young age, are learning how to, you know, be able to bring their visions to life, and you know, really doing it, not just learning about it, but doing it. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we make the music we do, is because, you know, regular families come out and enjoy our music. It's not like people have to be aware of all the stuff you and I are talking about right now. People bring their children to our shows, and our lyrics are very simple and very accessible, and our music is fun. So we're just getting those ideas very, to kind of play on repeat, because songs get stuck in your head. And we sing about, going for your dreams. We sing about sunshine and butterflies and bees and all the things that we want to see more of in the world. We paint a picture of what it can be like, what the good life really is. And it's the same thing with Dream Real. We want it, our vision is that anybody who finds us can find the tools they need, and can that we can turn them on to people who are incredibly successful at what they do and have done it before. And combining those two together, I think, is really important. That's why we call it tools and training for entrepreneurs, because first you need the mindset. Without the mindset, there's not much that's going to matter all that much, right? You got to have the mindset. You got to have the meditation and the heart coherence and all those things. But then if you find mentors and people who've done what you want to do, they can give you education and inspire you that you can do it too, and you can absorb all this stuff from them. But if you don't have the tools to apply that, then it's very challenging to figure out, well, how do I take that and do something with it? And if you only have the tools, so what I've noticed is if we don't do the education every day, like a little bit every day, feeding our subconscious, then we'll spin around and around with the tools, just like playing with them. But if we only have the education, then we're just spinning on that. But if we do a little bit of both every day, and when I say tools, I don't just mean software for business, that too, but I also mean tools like meditation. Like there's all kinds of tools. There's all kinds of templates for life. And I think when you combine the two, then people, I think there's a famous economist, I can't remember his name, he said if each human being unlocked their full potential, untapped human potential, that we would all be worth at least $1 trillion. Like that's how much value we are capable, each one of us is capable of adding to this world. And if we all are asking ourselves the question, what is the biggest problem that I can solve for the most people? And how can I do that? I believe when we all start asking that question and doing that, actually Brendan Burchard, we were at an event and he said, if we all start coaching each other, we'll live in heaven on earth. So literally, we already have, every single one of us has knowledge right now that can really benefit somebody else. And
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, Emrys. You've said a lot in there, and I just do love the thing that really hit me was when you said, and all the children, living their passions. And we all have these gifts that we're blessed with as we come in with, and then we develop them, and we develop skills, of course, to bolster those natural passions and talents. But that image right there, just like, that's the thing that just got my heart, was like, yeah, every child living their biggest life, their passions. And of course, I've been an entrepreneur for many years now. Gosh, I don't even know how long. It's been well over 30 years. And so I truly believe in helping people have freedom to make choices, and an entrepreneurial life does give you a lot more freedom than many have. So it's a great thing. And you've helped me a lot with the part of life that I don't know about, of softwares and landing pages and courses online and all of this, which I'm so grateful for. And so, thank you for that huge missing piece for me that I really needed. And it's always a joy to work with a friend, because I trust you, so if you lead, I'll follow, and I'll see it and I'll work it and see, like, is this singing for me, and if it does, I'm all on board. And if it doesn't feel right, then, I'm moving to another way. But you really taught me a lot. So, and there again, we just, age has nothing to do with it, right? It's what we come in with, and you have learned so much of parts of life that I haven't learned, with, especially online, and now you get to bring it. So it's very beautiful. we are wrapping up for our time. So I would just love to ask you just to give us one nugget of wisdom, one nugget for our listeners that they could take today to integrate into their own life.
Sure. Whatever you do it every day. So a lot of people are looking, you know, at least I used to kind of like hope for some kind of silver bullet, like some kind of magic little thing. And a lot of the successful people I've learned from, you know, they say there is no silver bullet. It's a combination of many things. But I think if there is one, I think that if there is one thing that will make all the difference, it's like Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man who practices 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who practices one kick for 1,000 days in a row. So, so for me, I think anything that you're trying to do, if you're not going to do it every day, then maybe, you know, I don't bother with that stuff as much anymore. Like if I want to get in shape, I don't make some big lofty goal. I just go, okay, I'm going to start walking for 5 minutes a day, every day. And then that expands. You know what I mean? Anything I want to do, I just start doing it a little bit each day, and it just kind of expands and expands. So one thing I can guarantee people, it's hard to guarantee people much in my line of work because everybody has a different work ethic and a different mindset and so many things. But one thing I have seen over and over again is that if you put energy into something every single day and you keep going for years, it will keep expanding, and you will make progress. It takes a couple months to turn it into a habit. Oftentimes it takes a couple years to really notice the progress. And then sometimes it takes 5 to 10 years to really get where you want to go. But it's all about whatever you do it every day.
I love that. Thank you so much, Emrys. And thanks very, very much for this interview. It's so beautiful. I know we could talk for hours, and thank you to all our listeners for listening. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do want to encourage you all to join our Gaia community. It's a huge community around the world. So please do join. I'll put the link below, and I will put Emrys's details and his links below as well. So you will have that. And live with an awakened heart. That's what I would leave you with. Live with an awakened heart. Much love and blessings to everyone. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day wherever you are. And we'll see you soon and talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.